Welcome to another episode of Blocks and Barriers with me, Tracy, the health coach. Today we have another special guest. I'm so excited. She is my fellow pharmacist, my fellow health coach. We have Wedaad Price here with us today. Wedaad is a Canadian-based pharmacist turned certified health coach with South African roots. She specializes in helping women over 40 overcome weight gain, low energy, and sluggish metabolism through lifestyle changes. As a mom and wife, Wedaad understands the challenges busy mothers face and is passionate about empowering them to achieve their health goals. She offers programs like the Metabolic Reset, focusing on sustainable habits for lasting wellness. Her passion is to teach lifestyle skills over pills. She's also unapologetic about her love for her family. So welcome, Wedaad.
Thank you, Tracy, for that lovely introduction. Thank you for having me on this interview and podcast today. I'm so honored, and yeah, thank you.
You are so welcome. You're so welcome. So we like to start the podcast with a little icebreaker. So if I was to ask you, Wedaad, who would you have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you are to have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner meal, but with three different people? So who would you choose for breakfast? Who would you choose for lunch? Who would you choose for dinner? And why?
Oh, wow, interesting question. You got me on that one. Yeah, so for breakfast, if I could have a nice sit down with someone, it would be, well, for breakfast, my mom. Definitely. She's very inspiring. And she's got me to the person I am today and who I am today. And she is very loving and caring. And I think my passion for helping people probably started with seeing my mom do a lot of community work in her when I was, just a child growing up, and she spent her time giving of herself to others. And so I'd love to have a chat with her, and I'll just ask her, why did you do that? What made you do that? And although I have a good idea, but yeah, for breakfast, I definitely sit down with my mom. And then for lunch, my sister Rihanna, she's also very passionate about community work, and she's involved in lots of charity work. So she's involved in making food for the less fortunate in her community, and she spends a month at a time during a very special month in our tradition called Ramadan, and she cooks food for the less fortunate. Not every day, but most of the days. So again, her passion for helping others. I'd love to sit down and chat with her and ask her, why she does that, why she does what she does, even though she has a family to also, take care of. She's also very giving of her time to others. And then I guess for supper, someone who inspires me in the health industry, I guess Dr. Mindy Pulse. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yeah.
I love her work. She's also very inspiring. Got me into she loves getting people metabolically healthy, and I think that's where I get that from. Where my passion came from, just listening to some of her teachings and her videos, and I've read some of her books, and her values and her trainings aligns with what I would love to teach. So Dr. Mindy Paul, shout out to her. I'd like to have a dinner date with her and just ask her she's also so giving of her time to teach others about health and well-being and improving everyone's metabolic health. So yeah, that's the three people.
Amazing, amazing. So it sounds like you're surrounded in your immediate circle by people who are so giving, and then that's just some of your values. So even in someone like Dr. Mindy, you're inspired by that selflessness and just that ability to help others. So I can see why you'd want to have breakfast, lunch, dinner with all three of them. So, with that, you're a pharmacist, you're a health coach. People know what a pharmacist is, but what is your definition of what a health coach is? And especially, maybe let's make it interesting around this time when people are into New Year resolution, whether it's working, whether they're starting to wilt, whether they've abandoned it. What is your definition of a health coach?
I guess in a nutshell, there's so many coaches, right? So you get a life coach who could maybe help you in your life goals, and you can get a business coach to help you in your business goals. As a health coach, I'm someone who can help you with your health goals. So I'm very trained and a professional in helping someone just take control of their health again. Um, Behavior change is so difficult, right? So getting people to make those changes that they keep putting off. And a guide, I'd like to be that guide and support system to get people to make the behavior changes to reach their health goals, whether it be to lose weight or to improve the energy or to improve their metabolic health or just to come off. Maybe they have high blood pressure and they want to get better control of their chronic conditions. So, a health coach can be that support and that guide just to help you get from point A to point B and the journey that you take between that. And in between that is making changes, prioritizing your health, helping you set goals, and then reaching them. So, yeah, that's my definition of a health
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah. And I love how you put it. Just, someone is at the start at point A and they want to get to point B. So there's a gap in where they are, where they want to be. And then you're just guiding them in that journey to improve their health. So I love that definition. And so
Yeah.
what inspired you to transition from pharmacy to being a health coach?
Good question. You want the short story or the long story? I'll try and get it as short as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, I think the transition was both personal and professional. So let me go with the professional reason first. As a pharmacist, I see many, many people, on chronic medication, and they're being diagnosed with preventable chronic diseases. And I saw how the number of medications are increasing instead of decreasing. And I saw my patients um, getting not one, but two, three, or even four chronic diseases. That's one person, right? And the number of medications going from one, two, three, and in some seniors, as many as 10 medications that they're on. Um, and I just saw that or felt that some of them are very, very much preventable, and there's something going on here. So I definitely see the value of medication, therapy when it's appropriate, of course. But I do see a greater value in healing the body naturally with nutrition and lifestyle changes. Um, I didn't know it at the time when I was the pharmacist because I believed, like, okay, we were taught once you're on a chronic medication, you can't come off it, right? So there's not much you can do. You can just manage the condition. But then when personally, um, I got to a point where I was very, very stressed out, a busy mom, running a pharmacy business. My health wasn't in the greatest place. I was gaining weight and couldn't lose it. My energy was on the floor. I was exhausted. And so I didn't have a chronic condition, but I didn't feel the healthiest that I could be. And so so I dug into some research and, found that, oh, well, let me make some lifestyle changes or some um, dietary changes, some nutritional changes. And when I did that, I could see, I lost the weight that I wanted to lose. My energy came up. I just felt so much better in my body. And then combining the two, I thought, wow, if my patients in the pharmacy can just see the value of healing the body naturally through nutrition and lifestyle changes, which then could, become looking at the root cause of their health, then I can help them. And so I transitioned into being a health coach, where not only do we learn about nutrition and lifestyle, but to combine the two, and we look at behavior change as well. And that's the key point because people can have the information, but making that change is so hard. And so it was both professional and personal that made me want to become a health coach. And I'm so happy that I did. I definitely see the value in nutrition and lifestyle changes.
Yeah, amazing. And I love what you said. People have their information. And in my previous episode, that's what I was trying to get across. People know a lot, but it's in putting that information into action, the behavior change. That's where
Mhm.
all the wonderful transformation happens. So, and even you mentioned, combining the two. So, how do you feel pharmacy and health coaching complement each other?
Definitely, I can see when I'm helping my clients, my background in pharmacy and understanding medication, and the side effects and adverse reactions and symptoms. When I'm working with a client and it's with my health coach hat on,
Yeah.
and maybe I see some symptoms that they report back to me, and I know the medication that they're on. I can kind of make that connection. Okay, well, maybe this high dose of cholesterol medication is causing the muscle cramps and muscle pain and soreness that you're on. Let's contact your doctor and see if we can maybe reduce the dose, or let's contact your doctor and see if that is the reason for it. So maybe that's symptoms of I'm eating healthy, I'm doing right, but I can't seem to do the physical work that I want to. My muscles are tired. So that I can take back to my pharmacy knowledge. Is there medication that could be causing the side effect? And so I find that kind of complements the two combined. So yeah, I think the combination. Not everyone needs to be a pharmacist to be a health coach, but in my case, it definitely does help me help my patients or my clients in a better way.
Yeah, and I guess we look at the whole picture of a person when we're trying to help someone. So for you, when it comes to the medicine side of things, you'll be able to spot, is this a side effect? Does the dose need to be adjusted? So that's how it gets to complement how you're helping them in health coaching. So I don't know if you've had different myths in your practice about what health coaching is. I recently had one, health coaching is only for rich people. So what would you say to someone who's skeptical about health coaching, or anyone who has a preconceived idea about what health coaching is?
Funny enough, I was just chatting to a client and he was saying, I never thought I would need a health coach. There's no way I need a health coach, right? I can do this. Whatever I need to do to change my health, I can do this on my own. And after working with me through my metabolic reset program in 10 weeks, he said, you know what? Um, my health was really on the floor. And even though I knew what to do, I needed the guidance and I needed the support. And thank you for helping me and guiding me in those, even those tiny little changes, those tiny tweaks. I think everyone needs a health coach. That's what he told me. I said, "Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you." So, yes, a lot of people are skeptical. Health coaches are just out to maybe make money, and what gimmick is this? Who needs a health coach? But um, when people actually work with you and they see the value of it, and especially those days when motivation is low and they can easily get back into the old habits, that's when they could just jump on the call with the health coach and say, no, this is what's happening. How can I overcome these challenges? And how can I overcome this and this, what's happening in my life? And so I can guide and I can maybe see blind spots that my client does not. So everything could be so overwhelming for them, but I could maybe just see, oh, but you know what? If you just put the yoga mat next to your bed, as you get out of bed, you could do some stretches as you get out of bed. Let's see if that works for you. Just something simple that I can see when people are time crunched to fit in healthy habits. So yeah, I think if you're skeptical, you got to give it a try.
Absolutely. And I love what you said. You just reiterated what I've said on the first two episodes. It's about helping people to overcome those challenges. For us, we can quickly spot those blind spots, whereas for someone in that space, they're so overwhelmed, so they won't see, what exactly they need to do. And sometimes it's just something simple. Putting your mat next to your bed, and then you can just do something simple like stretches. So, in terms of overcoming these challenges, what are some of the common unhealthy habits you see in clients?
Yes, definitely. That's a good one. So, of course, unhealthy habits start. Let's look at food, for example.
Mhm.
So, eating sweet foods, eating comfort foods, processed foods, maybe drinking too much coffee or energy drinks just to get the energy up because that is what they know brings up the energy, right? So they drink 5, 6 cups of coffee or have a couple of energy drinks. Maybe um, drinking too much alcohol without realizing, having a glass every night or snacking late at night and binge watching on TV. So they stay up late, maybe surfing on the internet, scrolling on social media, or binge watching TV, snacking late, and then go to bed late. And so they sleeping is sort of impacted. So they sleep less than what they could have. Negative thinking is another habit um, that I find in my clients. It's so ingrained, the negative thinking, the um, thinking the worst case scenario, being in a constant state of stress, being in a constant state of fight or flight mode. So when clients come to me, I find this being some of the common, maybe unhealthy habits, and they want to break these. Um, so, and I think in today's society, Tracy, um, having these unhealthy habits is almost it's a habit, right? So once you get into these unhealthy habits, it's hard to get out of them because your brain kind of makes a connection to watching TV late at night. So it's something that's almost automatic that you do. So unless you become aware of it, then you can't really make that change. And yeah, so those are just some of the unhealthy habits I find in my practice. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, yeah, the same. And as you said, we make that connection and it becomes associated with something, and then it's just literally an ingrained habit. So it becomes difficult to break. And I know you've mentioned low motivation. Maybe sometimes we're not aware, sometimes we have blind spots. But besides those, why do you feel it's hard? And also, a lot of people have information. So why do you feel these habits are so hard to break?
Good question. Really, really good. And I think that is the reason why I got into health coaching. Um, that's another reason because I wanted to shout off the rooftops. Just eat healthy, change your lifestyle, exercise. Like, why doesn't everyone just do it? There's so many books on this. There's so much information on this, and why do people just not do it? And then when I
Mhm.
discovered that health coaching actually really looks at behavior change and how to get people to change it, um, that's when I said, okay, this is the answer. You know, let's see if I can do this. And it's amazing how coaching does help with behavior change. But I think the reason, getting back to your question, why is it so difficult? I don't know if you've heard of something called the dopamine effect.
Yes.
Um, right. So I think we live in a modern world today of dopamine saturation. Um, and dopamine is a good hormone. It makes you happy, it makes you feel good. But I think we actually get too much of that dopamine. It becomes saturated. For example, let's say, what could be someone's um, food that they really that's their crunch. They If there's something they can't give up, it's that. So let's say for me, it's a bag of Doritos. I don't know about anyone else, but for me, um, just knowing, let's say for example, that's your food of choice that you love. Walking, you're walking in the shopping aisle and you see this bag of Doritos. Just seeing that bag of Doritos and the effect it's going to have on you, it's going to make you feel good when you eat it. Your brain already tells you, yes, please take that. I want that. So that's already, a dopamine hit there. And then you open up the bag and you just smell. You haven't even eaten it. You just smell the bag and the, the smell of it is another dopamine hit. And because you know what it's going to taste like. And then you put a couple in your mouth and then your brain says, ah, this is good. I mean, it could be sugar for someone else. It could be a chocolate for someone else or a piece of cake for someone else. So dopamine heat after dopamine heat. And so dopamine is actually the molecule of more, not the molecule of enough. So now you start eating that bag of chips and it's like, this is really good. But you don't stop at one or two. You got to eat a half a bag, right? To give you that same dopamine hit. Or maybe in the beginning, one or two chips could do the trick. But your after a while, one or two is not enough. And it's the molecule of more, right? So um, another example could be our cell phones, right? So our cell phones is a dopamine hitting machine. So
Absolutely.
I don't know if you even for myself,
Yeah.
are you who's addicted to their cell phones?
Almost
Um,
everyone.
Almost everyone, right? So that ping that we get when the email comes, or that ping when um, we get a message, or just going onto social media, we can end up scrolling. It's like for me, maybe someone who's listening, are you addicted to your phone?
Mhm.
Simple question. And if the answer is yes, it's because it's a dopamine hit machine. And so I think so that's one example, right? And then another kind of habit that we have is watching TV, right? So Netflix, oh my goodness, the people who made Netflix, they know exactly the psychology behind binge watching because you don't have to stop to get to the next episode and actually click next episode. It just automatically goes to the next episode. So the psychology behind that is like, okay, you don't still have to stop to think about whether you want to watch the next episode. It's just automatic. So then you just sit, and before you know it, it's 3 hours later.
Yeah.
And then society has made things so much easier where you can just sit on your couch while you're watching your Netflix show and then go on your phone and order some food, right, on the app. And before you know it, the food arrives at the door. All you have to do is go get up, open the door, grab the food, and then you can go sit back on the couch and have the processed foods, maybe the takeouts, which also taste good, so another dopamine hit, and so on and so on. So no wonder it's so hard to make these changes. And I'm guilty of it myself. It was only
Me
becoming
too.
aware, so it's only once when you become aware of it, and then hopefully you get to a point where it's okay, enough is enough. I need to make a change. And so at the beginning of the year, most people are making resolutions and they think, okay, um, I want to become healthier. I want to lose weight. I want to watch less TV. I want to use my phone a little bit less. So let's make some changes. And so I understand how difficult it is to break those habits, definitely. I mean, with that dopamine hits all the time, sometimes we just need to take a break from that dopamine hit. And then just so our dopamine receptors can become sensitive again to the little joys of life. And so I think that's why people are why it's so hard to break habits.
Absolutely,
Um,
yeah. It becomes like a vicious cycle. And then when somebody decides to change, maybe they're thinking there's so many things I need to change and they become overwhelmed. So what would be your recommendation on what someone can do when they're feeling overwhelmed and they don't even know where to start? What would be your advice to them?
right. So just as we know, some unhealthy habits become ingrained. Um, Starting a new healthy habit um, can be done. So for someone who's busy and they find it difficult to make the changes, but they don't know where to begin. So I always say, make it as easy as possible. Start easy with something that you can do for 5 minutes. It doesn't need to be an hour long. So most often people think, oh, I need to go to the gym and spend an hour in the gym. But it's not always practical. Maybe the first day, second day, third day, even the first week, you feel motivated to go. But then you realize, well, I gotta get dressed, I gotta get in the car, I gotta drive to the gym, spend that hour, and then commuting back and forth. So maybe it's more than an hour, right? So how about you start easy with something at home where you don't have to still even get changed. So make your healthy goal as easy as possible and with maybe just 5 minutes at a time. And then secondly, there's a lot of science that goes into this habit forming changes and behavior change. And the science shows that if you stack one new habit onto an existing habit, it makes it easier to make that transition. So, for example, if again you want to start moving your body, do some kind of exercise, if you look at your day and think about what it is that you're already doing. So for most people, they are making their coffee in the morning, brewing their coffee and having a coffee drink in the morning or tea. So that is an existing habit. So if you maybe want to add something on, add it on to that habit that you're already doing. Maybe you could start doing some stretching or some body movements, some strength training while you're waiting for your coffee to brew. Right, so right there in the kitchen, you could do some leg extension, some um, uh, push-ups on the counter, anything is a dumb. You can have a dumbbell on the counter and you can do some weights, just picking up the dumbbell. So stacking that onto an existing habit is another way to kind of get into a new habit. And then you also got to create your environment for success. So for example, again, the coffee, maybe having a step stool in the kitchen while you're waiting for the coffee to brew. You could go onto the step stool and do some steps there. Or having the dumbbell right by the kettle or by the coffee machine. So that is setting up your environment for success. So I think those are just three main tips that I share with my clients. That if something feels too overwhelming, start with one thing. Start with something that's 5 minutes. It's easy to do, and when motivation is low, because it's easy to do, you're more likely to do it just because it's easy. And okay, I can do this for 5 minutes. And then making it a new habit by sticking it onto something you're already doing over time, then that will become your new habit and creating your environment. So, yeah, those are just a couple of tips to how to make
Yeah.
new habits last.
Yeah, and very practical, very simple. And I love how you said, sometimes people think we need to do something complex, like go to the gym for 1 hour. Start with 5 minutes. So when it comes to now keeping on track, you started the 5 minutes, you just, oh, as your coffee is brewing, you're doing some steps on the spot or whatever you choose to. But let's say you're someone who works long hours, like ourselves, pharmacists, and so many other professions. You're working long hours. Maybe you're traveling frequently. There's no time to eat, let alone eat healthy. It's a highly stressful job, and possibly you're not even getting support at home or at work when you're trying to just do your little 5 minutes of new, healthier habits. What do you recommend for people in that position where they just have demanding lives, but they're trying, they're starting to do those 5 minutes bursts of healthy habits.
Absolutely. And uh, we all very, very busy, right? Especially healthcare professionals, other professionals. We work long hours, as you say, and I was one of them, right? I was a pharmacist who had no time for my health. So how did I make those changes? Um, and it started with awareness and um, having the initially I had that motivation, right? So I wanted to find out what can I do? What can I do? And I just made some simple switches. So it started with my food, right? So if you can start with making some simple switches with maybe just food, maybe just reducing your sugar load, having more whole foods, just changing a little bit, and with the guidance of a health coach, um, I just making some changes in my diet, then my energy started to improve. So even in the busy day, my mindset started changing because I had more energy because I was feeding my body some good food. And then I would make sure that I carve out that 5 minutes to just do one thing. So I always say, just start with one thing. If it's because we all have to eat, right? So if that's the first thing you do, if you're a busy person and you don't know where to begin, start with what you're eating and making small changes there. And then hope, you have a domino effect. So having that one change can lead to, okay, now I have the energy to actually exercise. Now I have the energy to um, now I have the motivation to maybe go to bed earlier. Instead of, as busy professionals, we try to extend our day as long as possible
Yes.
so that we can get more in.
Yeah.
So the more you do, the more successful you are, right? So that's the thought at least. But no, maybe just slowing it down a bit and putting that phone away, going intentionally, going to bed earlier, getting better sleep. So then you wake up feeling a bit more energized and you can handle the stressful day better. When you have better sleep, you have the resilience. So now you're sleeping better. Now you can cope better with the stresses of the work. So yeah, it's that domino effect, but you gotta make a change. You gotta start somewhere. And for me, it was just changing my food. Lifestyle things that I did afterwards came afterwards. Um, because then, with the domino effect. So that would be my advice, for busy professionals, start with one thing and start easy.
Yes, and I love that, we all eat. So that's something you can easily just, well, not easily, but maybe that's an area you can quickly target because you must eat in a day. So you can just make slight adjustments. But now when it comes to what is a nutrient-rich diet, sometimes maybe not all of us are aware of what is a nutrient-rich diet. And I saw this picture on one of the social media pages I follow, and it was a picture of someone had cooked mac and cheese, and they had rice, and I think they had a piece of chicken. So, what exactly are the key components we add of a nutrient-rich meal? Yeah, let me say meal, because when we say diet,
Mhm.
people think of dieting. So what's
Yes.
yeah, what's a nutrient rich meal that we should be having?
Right. So if you think of your plate, um, and I'll go to, like you say, could be pasta, and nice big portion, I guess probably three-quarters of your plate, and then you have some chicken and very little vegetables maybe in that plate. So if you wanted to change your plate and you wanted to make it more healthy and more nutrient rich, I would say let's think of fiber, right? So fiber from your fruits and vegetables. So that's really important because there's lots of nutrients, there's lots of vitamins, there's minerals, um, um, polyphenols, antioxidants that we get from our fruits and vegetables. So making sure that at least half of your plate is filled with, vegetables that doesn't impact your blood sugar as much. And then maybe a quarter of your plate could be more the starchier part. So you can still have if you wanted to have pasta, but maybe make that switch and have a root vegetable like sweet potatoes and beetroots, right? So more color. And then definitely you need a good quality protein in that meal. So that's your chicken, could be meat, it could be fish. And then also on your plate should be a healthy fat. So you could have some olive oil on your vegetables or on your salad. Um, Maybe some olives in your salad, grated cheese. So that I would say is a nutrient-rich food. So the key components, so protein, vegetables and fruit, healthy fat, and maybe even some nuts and seeds. And yeah, so that to me is a nutrient-rich plate or
Yeah.
meal.
Yeah. And I love that you said, quality protein. Like someone may say, yeah, but I'm having KFC chicken and and
Right.
that's not necessarily a healthy option. So yeah, legumes and all these fiber-rich foods. So that leads us on to you do a program called the Metabolic Reset. What is a metabolic reset, Widad?
Right, right. So I call it metabolic reset because as a pharmacist, most of the chronic conditions that I see in my practice is someone who has high blood pressure, they have high cholesterol, Their waistlines are expanding, so belly fat, and then they have high glucose levels, right? So they're either pre-diabetic or they diabetic or so they're on medication for type 2 diabetes. Um, uh, yeah, or maybe even thyroid medication. So all of these chronic conditions relates to your metabolic health. Now, the metabolic reset looks at just using nutrition and lifestyle to improve your metabolic health. And what does that mean? So that means um, let's our bodies run on two fuel sources. So we can be a sugar burner or we can be a fat burner. So we can get our energy from our foods, from maybe that's sugar, um, and we turn the mitochondria in our bodies turn that into energy to do the function that the body needs to do. Or the body can use energy from fat, and that could be uh, the endogenous fat that we have. So I want people to be fat burning machines and not burn fat from the glucose that we're always eating and the food that we're always eating. And to get to that point, we need to get the body to do that. So that means my metabolic reset looks at becoming more metabolically flexible. I do incorporate a little bit of intermittent fasting. So with the guidance of myself, because not everybody can do intermittent fasting, and I make sure that you can do it and it's safe to do so. Maybe even check with your doctor first if you can do so. So I incorporate a little bit of intermittent fasting and then the foods that we spoke about, like whole foods, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and just choosing foods that is in nature, that comes from nature, versus processed foods, right? And then I incorporate a bit of lifestyle changes and do this over a 10-week period, and my clients get the results that they're looking for, right? The energy improves, they do get some weight loss, um, the metabolic health improves, meaning sometimes people's blood pressure come down, the cholesterol levels improve, and so it complements and helps to better manage these chronic conditions. So that was my aim in the metabolic reset. So better sleep as well. I also look at sleep, how we can improve your sleep hygiene and your strategies to improve your sleep. And of course, coping with stress management as well. So I incorporate all of that into one program and I call it the Metabolic Reset Program.
Yeah, amazing. And is there one particular client of yours where, their progress just stands out in terms of a success story?
Yes. So many. So let me yes, so um my one client, she was a busy professional, mom of two daughters, and her health was like really on the floor. She had lots of digestive issues. She had Hashimoto's, an autoimmune condition. Um, uh, she had low energy and she was starting in menopause and she was gaining weight and she just couldn't lose the weight. And going through my program, um, we made some changes and all the things I mentioned. We've made some nutritional changes, some lifestyle changes, like just better sleep, better stress management, and her results were amazing. So in the 10 weeks, she had lost 13 kilograms in a short 2 weeks. So, and her energy improved so much so that she did an overhaul of her office, so her home office. Um, she was working in the garden. She did a whole change, a new garden.
Nice.
She was doing yoga on the beach with her friends. She was doing that regularly because she incorporated accountability of work, doing it with her friends. So she was doing that regularly. Her digestion improved. And then when she went back to the doctor and she did blood work again, her antibodies for her autoimmune condition had come down. And
Amazing.
we didn't even do any supplements or, I didn't change her medication or anything. And yeah, so she lost the weight, she got the energy back. Her autoimmune condition was much better under control, and she just got amazing results. Mm.
Amazing. Yeah. And so on that note, so who would health coaching be suited for and who would health coaching not be suitable for?
I don't think there's anyone. I think everyone can benefit from health coaching, honestly.
Yeah,
I guess not suitable if you're not ready to make the changes.
correct.
Um, if you're not in that headspace and you say, "No, I'm happy with the way things are, um, I'm not quite there to make those changes," then maybe health coaching is not for you yet.
Yes,
Um, because I like to work with people who want to prioritize their health and who
absolutely.
want to make the changes.
Hmm.
Right, so we can't change everybody, unfortunately. I wish we could.
Hmm.
So those who want to be helped, who want to make changes, then health coaching is for you.
Yeah, so they have to have that willingness, that determination. Do they have to have motivation to work with you?
No, absolutely not,
Yeah,
because they just need to want to make a change
yes,
and see a different result.
yes.
The motivation will come as you work a lot, as you work together.
Correct. Yeah. And I know earlier you mentioned, signs that something is going on with our metabolism, maybe high blood pressure, high cholesterol, our waistlines. So that I can imagine can lead to people getting into or having lots of medication. So it brings this term polypharmacy.
Mhm.
For healthcare professionals, pharmacists, doctors, why is this a concern and how can we help as health coaches in this issue?
Definitely. So, yeah, polypharmacy is when someone is on multiple medications, typically five or more to treat, various health conditions, like you just mentioned.
Mm.
Um, and it is definitely a growing concern in the healthcare industry because of potential risks and consequences. And some of the reasons it is a concern are number one, it could be, adverse drug reactions. So when you're on five or more medications, there's a greater risk of adverse drug interactions and reactions. So they could be, and this can lead to more serious health complications. Number two, another concern would be medication adherence. So when people are on so many medications, it's harder to be compliant and to take the medications as prescribed and to take all of them, as prescribed. So as a pharmacist, we can help. That is where pharmacists can come in and help with the adherence of sticking to the medications because it is important and you need to take it as prescribed. Then another reason for concern for polypharmacy could be maybe increased risks of falls, especially in our more senior patients. So the more medications they're on, especially medications that make them drowsy, they have the risk of falls. Or maybe there could be another concern of cognitive impairment, like certain medications, like sedatives or antidepressants, can contribute to cognitive impairment as well when used when combined because of maybe two or three medications. Um, and then, of course, it's a concern because there's a financial burden on people. Polypharmacy medication costs a lot of money, and for some people, they have to be on five or more, and that could be expensive for them. So that's another concern. And then, of course, now trying to, let's say we want to reduce or de-prescribe or stop some of these medications, that is difficult as well because you can't just stop medication just like that. You need to um, do it slowly and methodically and with the doctor's guidance as well. So these are just like some of the concerns. And as I think as we have an aging population, um, the need for polypharmacy is almost, there's so many people on so many medications, and the prevalence of chronic conditions like we spoke about, diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases. Um, and so the prevalence is there, the concern is there, and how can we as pharmacists or healthcare providers help? Um, in pharmacy, I do something like medication reviews. So I would go through your medication and identify potential interactions and potential problems. And so I would then contact the doctor and maybe help to optimize the medication treatment plans. And then just helping people reduce medications by, again, looking at the review. Is there something that's maybe not necessary anymore? So a lot of people are on some medications for years and years, and then
Yeah.
maybe the condition has improved and they actually don't need to be on that medication anymore. So that's another way that we can help. And then definitely non-pharmacological intervention. So that is where, as a health coach, we have an abundant knowledge of non-pharmacological interventions, of promoting lifestyle changes, and nutrition and how that can help to manage the chronic conditions. So yeah, I think that it is definitely a growing concern, and as pharmacists, we can definitely help with that.
And in terms of compliance, because that's a big issue, and we'll have all these compliance aids, but still you find despite that, compliance is still an issue. So what do you feel with the behavior change that health coaches, the skill in behavior change that health coaches have, how do you feel that can play a part in improving compliance?
Very, very good question. So yeah, so I think um, with behavior change, so we can just sit down with someone and say, okay, let's look at the times that you take the medication, right?
Correct.
When is the best time? When will you best remember to take the medication? Let's work that into your day. So if it's in the morning after breakfast, take your medications then, or is it better for you to take at night? When will you remember it then? Can we help with putting reminders on your phone? Can we maybe seeing that we all have cell phones and we can, that might be a beneficial use of a cell phone. Um, and maybe even using these compliant packaging, right? So putting your medication in there. So when you're traveling or you're out and about and you can take that with you, so that would improve your compliance instead of you forgetting to take your medication with you in the original containers or carrying so many bottles with you. So yeah, I think there's definitely a couple of ways that we can help and to fit things into your day. How we, as health coach, we can see how your day goes and then try and fit that new habit or that new behavior change into your day.
Yeah. And I guess also that brings in that holistic approach. Why do you feel this is important, especially in terms of medication management and lifestyle changes?
Absolutely. Our body is a whole. We have many, many cells, trillions of cells that make up organs, that make
Yes.
up systems, that make up us as a body. And um, we can't really isolate just one system, like the cardiovascular system, or just the respiratory system, or just the digestive system.
Mhm.
So the body works as a whole, right? And so, as a health coach, I think, that's why I'm so passionate about it. I'm not just looking at how I can decrease your blood pressure, but how can I help you holistically? Um, and the body is so amazing. It has the ability to heal itself. We just need to put the right environment. We just need to put the body in the right environment that it's so craving,
Mhm.
and the body would heal itself. So we just need to, it sounds simple, right? It sounds like, oh yeah, body can heal itself, need the right environment. But that's where the help we as a health coach can help you. And the right environment is, sunlight. We all need sunlight. We need, when you think of a plant, right? A plant needs sunlight, it needs good soil, it needs water. And the body needs the same, right? So that we need the same environment. We need good sunlight, which can help with your sleep, and sunlight has sends messages to your body to do its function, right? It's so amazing. We actually need the sunlight. And then the food is our soil. So we need to give the give our bodies the right nutrition, and then hydration, right? We need to hydrate ourselves as well. The body needs water to function. So that if we do that holistically, we have the domino effect of the body just healing itself. It's so amazing. The body
It
is so
is.
amazing.
It really is. And we try and it's simple as you said. It may sound or we may feel we need to do something complex, buy supplements and everything. No, sometimes, like you said, it's just adjusting what you're eating, and then there's that domino effect, and then you start to see things changing for you, and just like that, things change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm very, very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about health. Passionate about helping others improve their health and reach their health goals, um, and for it to be sustainable, right? That's the key thing, because I don't want healthy changes to be just something you do for a few weeks. It needs to be a lifestyle. It needs to be sustainable as well. So I don't like the word diet as well, right? So
Yeah.
we need to eat healthy as a lifestyle,
Hmm.
and everything we do needs to be sustainable.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, and I mean, there's room for, there's always that 80-20 rule, so we don't have to be perfect all the time
Exactly.
either.
Exactly. Yes.
So, if we can be healthy or make healthy choices and do the healthy habits 80% of the time, then there's still room for that 20% when you do want to have that bag of Doritos.
Yeah.
And then because you maybe reset your dopamine receptors, just a few would be okay. And you don't have to have the whole bag.
No. Yeah. And I guess maybe on the note of pharmacy and health coaching coming together, in an ideal world, what would be the result of pharmacists and health coaches working together?
Gosh, that would be amazing.
Isn't it?
Um, not of course not every pharmacist is going to become a health coach.
No.
Um, but if we can work together and collaborate, that would be amazing. I think that's another reason why I became a health coach, because at the pharmacy counter, you have 5 minutes to spend with the customer in front of you and give them medication, and they want to know, okay, well, how can I lose weight? No way I can tell you what to do in 5 minutes or guide you in
Exactly.
5 minutes.
Yes.
Um, so, as a pharmacist, if you know that Wedaad is a health coach, and Wedaad can help you with weight loss and manage your new condition that you've just been diagnosed with. You've just been diagnosed with diabetes and high blood pressure. Here's the medication the doctor prescribed, but we do need to make lifestyle changes. And even your doctor said you need to make some changes. Here's your prescription, make the changes. But now the pharmacist is there, they can give you a medication and tell you, okay, this is how you take the medication to get the best outcome with the condition. But now the patient still has to make the changes by themselves. And I find that's where there's a gap in the healthcare system. Leaving the doctor's office or even the pharmacy, and the patient still has to be on their own to make these changes. So if we can collaborate and the pharmacist can say, okay, now go see Tracy or Wedaad, they are health coaches, and they can help you make the changes that you need to make to improve your chronic condition. And then we can, spend more time explaining the benefits of the foods and what they do, and the benefits of getting good sunshine and getting good sleep. So I think that collaboration would be amazing.
Exactly. And because like here in the UK, the responsibilities of the pharmacist is increasing. So I can imagine the time they have is now even less to go through the benefits. I think when people understand the benefits, when they understand the concept of blood sugar balancing, then it's like, oh, really? Okay, let me make some changes. But even the doctor's office, they don't have time. Of course, they would like to, but they
Mhm.
realistically they don't have that time. So that's where we dad comes in. That's where I come in to give you the benefits of why you need to do what you need to do, and also to give you that support. And also, as Wedaad said, just looking at your time, looking, where can we fit in things realistically. So I think that's such a powerful point, Wedaad. And I
Yeah,
guess as we close out, maybe two questions. What do you feel, in your from your pharmacy practice and from your health coaching practice, you've practiced for some time now in both professions. What do you feel, or why do you feel it's important for us to invest in our health?
absolutely. Very, very good question. Uh, in my pharmacy practice, I mean, I see the chronic conditions and I
Mhm.
see the healthcare system, not 100%. Like, I don't know if it's failing us, if this healthcare system is failing us.
Yeah.
Um, and, the medications are just increasing, the chronic conditions are increasing. Um, so are we really going to rely on someone else to make us feel healthier? Or are you going to take control of your health? Um, so I guess my message to anyone who's listening is you have the power to change your outcome of your health. Um, yes, I could be a guide and a support, but you ultimately have the power
Mhm.
to make those changes. So it's in your hands. And I think I've heard the saying before from another famous, probably health practitioner, and Sachin Patel is his name, and he says the doctor of the future is the patient,
Mhm.
and I believe that when especially when pharmacists are so busy, doctors are so busy, um, you're going to take control of your health. It doesn't mean you're going to now manage your medication and all that. We still need our doctors and we still need the pharmacists to help with that. But with what you can do with lifestyle changes and nutrition, you can be in control of your health, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Just start small, start easy, and it is doable, and can be sustainable. And yeah, wouldn't we all love to just grow old, but grow healthy old, grow healthily old,
That's it. That's
grow
it.
old healthily. That's the
Yes. Yes, not with a poor quality of life. Yeah.
life.
You're older, but you feel strong, you feel young. I see all these videos on social media, and there's an 8-year-old and she's running up the hill, and it's possible for everyone.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I would love for everyone to still be out in the garden at 80 years old and
Mhm.
going up walks or climbing stairs,
Yeah.
at 80, 90 years old. Yes,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
possible.
It is possible. And I also see other videos of, 20 people in their 20s and 30s, and they're saying, oh, their back already is hurting. And, these are signs that we need to do something for ourselves, and the help is there. So what considerations should people take into account when they're looking to invest in a private practitioner or in a health coach, for example? I think I need a health coach. So, what steps can they take to, how can I say it? What do they need to bear in mind?
Bear in mind, yes.
Yes, yeah.
So, if you think you need help, and there's maybe a few health coaches out there, start with someone you maybe know about, or someone who's had an experience with a health coach, and they can recommend someone, because yeah, there's so many out there. You need to choose. You need to work with someone that you can relate to as well. That would be someone who can work with you and work with your health goals. So look for someone, and maybe you need to just jump on a call with a couple of people before you decide who you want to work with. So I might not be the right health coach for everyone. So maybe Tracy would be a better suitable health coach
Yeah,
for
and vice
someone,
versa. I may not be the right one, but with that may be the right one.
right? So definitely, your health coach needs to have your back and your support and your best interest at heart, and you need to feel comfortable with the health coach as well. So, um, I guess, yeah, just find someone who maybe had a good experience, and people like to go with people who's had a good experience working with
Absolutely.
someone.
Mhm.
And if you know your friend had a good experience with this person, then, make that connection, get on a call, jump on a call with that health coach or that person who can help you, and see if the two of you are the right fit.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Dad. So, if there was a final, maybe one small step you'd recommend listeners to do to improve their health, or just maybe something maybe they've had, oh yeah, eat healthy, move, exercise. What's something you want them to cling to that can really help them continue with those
Mhm.
changes or get started or
Or even get
maintain?
started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so think about what your life, and what is one thing that you can start with.
Mm.
Um, Definitely, I keep saying make it easy for you, start with one thing. So if it's not food, if you're not ready to make a change to your food, what is something else that you can make a change in? Is it your sleep, right? Maybe you will start there with just sleeping. Maybe you want to start with just something as simple as gratitude journaling, right? So maybe you could start with, winding down your evening, um, and spending a few minutes just writing in your journal about how your day went, showing your gratitude, and maybe that alone, maybe just that one practice of just journaling, gratitude specifically has so many benefits for the heart, for the mind, gives you peace of mind, makes you, gratitude is the memories that holds true for you in your heart. Maybe you could start there, and you'll see that you'll sleep better, you'll cope better with your day, and then your mindset can start to improve to make other healthy changes. So maybe you could start with something small, like just writing down 3 things that you're grateful for in the evening before going to bed. Yes,
Amazing.
that sounds simple enough.
Yes, it is. It is. And for our pharmacist colleagues, our healthcare professionals who are also, they're also human beings and they need to take care of themselves. They have all this knowledge, and sometimes unintentionally, they're not putting it into action. What would you say to them?
Yes, that's a tough one because I see how busy pharmacists are, and it's just go, go, go. And
Mhm.
in the evening, they're probably so exhausted.
Mhm.
So what is one thing that you as a pharmacist can do? Ask yourself, what is one thing that you can do to take better care of your health? Um, and whether it's spending more time with your family, that's the thing. Intentionally blocking out that time to spend with your family, because that was a concern for me. I was so busy. I have 2 kids, and I didn't have the time to spend with my kids. That was one of the things that um, that being a professional sometimes is hard to balance family life as well.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just being intentional about one thing that's important to you outside of pharmacy and start there.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Wedaad, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be with you and to talk about our passion in helping people. We've done a webinar. Do you know, Wedaad, it was 2 years ago. I was checking yesterday.
Is it 2 years?
It's
No
2 years
way.
ago. Time just flies.
Oh my
It
word.
flies. So it's a pleasure to have you here. I know people will want to connect with you. So where can our listeners find more information about you, how to work with you, how to get in touch with you if they're interested in health coaching and or
Yeah,
just connecting with you
definitely.
or following you?
Yes, definitely. If you feel the need, if you feel the call to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook. My handle is at Wedaad Price Health Coach. As you see behind me, so it's just my name and then health coach. Um, and Facebook as well as Instagram. I'm also on YouTube on Wedaad Price Health Coach. And once you connect with me on there, you'll find my contact details. So you can always email me. Very simple again. My email address is info@wedaadpricehealthcoach.com. And then my contact details, like phone number, would be on my Instagram page as well, and on my Facebook page as well. And yeah, if I do offer complimentary health and energy sessions where we can just connect to see um, what your health goals are, uh, where is it that you want to go to, and then we can work out a plan of how to get there, how to get to your goals. And I do offer that complimentary, so feel free to connect with me to jump on a complimentary of an energy session call.
Amazing. And of course, I'll have the details, Wedaad's details in the description below so you can connect with her and reach out and you will see changes in your life, not just for the short term, but for the long term to sustain them. So thank you so much, Wedaad. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you, Tracy, for having me. It's always a pleasure. This is a fun conversation, talking
Yeah,
about something we're both very passionate about, and I'm sure we
exactly.
can we can carry on for
Yes, we
another
can.
hour.
I'm just conscious of the time. Otherwise, yes, for sure, I would carry on. I don't want
Oh,
to keep
yes,
you, but
I
thank
really enjoyed this conversation. So
I'm glad
thank
you
you,
did.
Tracy, for
Yes.
having me.
You're so welcome with that. And viewers, as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.